Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. It's a Bible reading party. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Mm-mm-mm. Good morning. Good morning. Put my phone up. Don't ask me why I'm eating gummy bears for breakfast. But just like they say, out of sight, out of mind, in sight, in mind. I was noshing on those last night. Good morning, beautiful people. Good morning, beautiful people. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Life of Key, good morning. Uh, Actually, Nicole, first person in the room. I feel like I'm waking up with my eyes looking the wrong way. Laverne Dorsey, good morning. Blessed to be alive. Morning, good morning. Eva Frazier's in the house. Good morning. Nightbot's in the house. Good morning. Did I say the whiz? No, I did not say the whiz. Morning, the whiz. Good morning, everybody. TGIF. 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 How's everybody doing today? How was the week for you? For me, the days go by so quick, but the days go by kind of, I don't know. I was going to say one thing goes by quick and another thing goes by long. The week is going by really quick and the days seem quick too. I was going to say the days seem long, but no. Put my feet out, stretch my feet out. Yeah, the days are going by kind of quickly. How has this stay at home time been for you guys? I'm just curious. Does it seem like time is going by faster? Does it seem like time is going by quicker? Is it the same old, same old? You don't notice a difference? I feel like I don't know, maybe it's because of what I've been doing lately. Like I've been in this chair. I've been stuck to this chair for the past 6, 8 weeks, and I'm almost always exclusively in this chair because I'm always working at my computer and doing stuff. And it one moment it'll be 7 a.m. like it is now, and then the next minute it'll be noon, and then the next minute it'll be about 3 in the afternoon. Then it's 7 o'clock again, and then before I know it, it's almost midnight. That's how time is going for me. How has time been going for you? I'm just curious. The time is 7:20 though. Right now the time is 7 a.m., 7:20 a.m. Central Standard Time. It is Friday, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. We made it to the end of the week and the weekend is upon us. I guess when you're sheltering in and staying at home, every day is the weekend. So it doesn't even really seem like it matters anymore, does it? Or does it? For me, the weekend still feels sort of kind of like, yay, made it to the weekend. But it kind of feels the same. I got a special emoji for you guys. I used it yesterday. I'm going to pull it out today. Probably already know what it is. Am I buffering? I wonder, is that what it is? Am I buffering today? Mm-hmm. I see a little bit of buffering on my side. I don't know if that's the reason why I'm not hearing from you guys or what. But when I don't hear from you, I got something for you. I got something for you. I have another live pending. Okay, let me get rid of that one because something weird was going on. Right? It kept saying it was trying to go live, and then it says, "We're sorry, you can't go live at this time." So let me see if I can go into YouTube Studios from this side and get rid of that. Yeah, I don't know why it does that sometimes. I'd have to show you from this side, but literally there's a button that says, "Would you like to pick up where you," kind of like it almost says, "Would you like to pick up where you were yesterday?" And it's the exact same thing. I don't have to do anything technical. And I just say, "Yes, let me go. Let me pick up where I was yesterday." And it's supposed to do all that technical stuff for me, but sometimes it doesn't act right. Uh, Return to YouTube Studio. I don't know what this means. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get rid of that other one just to make sure nobody else is in the wrong room or is waiting in the wrong place. Loading, loading, loading. Okay. So let me go to my content. Let me go to my lives. Yeah, I got quite a few. Upcoming for First Samuel. Yeah, that's the one that didn't want to act right. So I'm going to take this one and this one. I said quite a few. There's only two. All right. Yes, I want to delete those forever. So now the only thing you should see is First Samuel from yesterday. And First Samuel from today. Yesterday, the 19th, there was 30 people. The 20th, there was 22 people. The 21st, there was 30 people. And then today, we got 8 people in the house. No, we got 8 views and 4 likes. 4 viewers so far. Okay, good. I do need to check that. I do need to check the oh, yep, I see. All right. Let me get to my Kindle. Oops, I just messed the whole thing up. That's okay. I'm gonna leave it alone. It could be slightly more user friendly, but I won't complain. We're in First Samuel 28:31 today. Days like this make me wish I would go back to my time when I would edit my live streams, so all that other stuff with me messing around on here would be gone. But That's okay. Oh my goodness. Is it gonna be one of those days? No, I don't want to set up another live stream. Oh my goodness. Help, help. I need some help. I know that I'm live, but I'm not in the room, y'all. It's weird, but I'm not in the room. I'm kind of locked out right now, so give me a second. I left the room so I could clean up the other room, and now I can't get back in the room. But I know that I'm live. I know you guys can see me. I just have to go around to the front, climb through a window. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it keeps trying to make a new live stream. There we go. Okay, yes. Now I'm going to go to my own live as if I were an outside person. And to all you people on the outside, I'm probably just confusing you. But anyways, I'm back. I'm back. I got rid of that other live stream that was about to start but didn't start, and now I'm back in the room with you and I can see you. I can see you. I hit the like button, says Eva Frazier. It's been long and stressful. You have another live pending, and that's my crickets. Okay, yes, those are the crickets, because sometimes you guys don't say anything. But that's okay. I am here to read the Bible. That is what I am here to do. Here's my Bible. It's the New Believer's Bible. Compact version. Whoops. Do it like that. New Living Translation for anybody who's new here. Oh, Lord, help the people who are new here. Probably like she doesn't know what she's doing. Sometimes I don't, if I want to be honest. That's my Bible dictionary. And yeah, now that we've got all that stuff, Kenya reads the Bible. Take two. Okay. So we are actually in the last part of Samuel. I know the title is wrong up there. I'm not even going to change it because every time I start fooling around with the editing stuff, it kind of gets me a little bit off schedule. But I do know that we are supposed to read 28 through 31. So let me do that quick screen share if I can. Oops, I hope I just screen shared. Good. We are on Friday's reading, which is 1 Samuel 28 through 31. And the checkpoints for this week has been a king's armor, a murdered priest, a wise, tactful wife. A meeting with a medium starts today. I know because I saw the heading. And then a time for judgment. And the theme for this week is Give Us a King. Give us a king. At this point, the nation of Israel has had judges helping them out here and there. But now they got their first king, which is Saul. And now David. This is the cover of the study guide that I'm using. It's a woman's guide to reading the Bible in a year, a life-changing journey into the heart of God. If you're interested in that, there is a link in the description. Whoop. And let's see. Do, 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 do. Climb through the window like your 6-year-old story. Yeah, the way that I had to get into my own live stream, it was weird. It was weird. All right, let me take a moment because that's gonna bug me. See, I thought I changed it. I thought I changed it before, but that's when it ended up creating another live stream. So weird. YouTube, sometimes you're strange. Just when I think I'm understanding how to work YouTube. All right, there we go. If I don't get to reading this Bible, I'm gonna make you guys fall asleep because I'm not getting to the reading. Y'all ready? Let's get it started. Let's get some rock and roll going. Yeah, that didn't make sense at all. I'm tired. If I'm honest, I'm tired. And I'm not quite prepared today. All right, yesterday's recap. This is what happened yesterday in the Bible reading. There was the 24, 25, 26. Patience, 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 patience. Sometimes I'm doing good. Sometimes I'm not doing so good. Sometimes I'm right with it. And other days I'm totally thrown off. I don't know why today's one of those days. But I appreciate your patience. 28, 29, 30, 31. Okay. So let me go back to 27, 25, 26, 27. Yes. I feel like I need to say start over. I feel like I need to start over because I just feel like I need to start over. Welcome to the Bible reading party, everybody. My name is Kenya. Thank you for joining me. The time is now 7:31 a.m. Central Standard Time. It is May 22nd, 2020, and today we are going to read 1 Samuel 28, 29, 30, and 31. Thank you for joining me. I feel like I need to, feel like I need to do that. First, we're going to start with a recap from yesterday. Yesterday, we read 25, 26, and 27. In chapter 25 of 1 Samuel, there is the death of Samuel. Nabal gets angry with David. Nabal is a descendant of Caleb because he is rude because he is rude and being irrational to David, who helped him out a couple of years before and is now coming back, hopefully, to get some of that goodness repaid to him. He is rude to him. David is deciding to bring his armies and troops and to kill Nabal. Abigail, who is his wife, is wise and patient and puts a halt to David's plans by bringing him gifts of food and rations for him and his men. That is the wise and tactful wife that prevented the slaughter of her husband. After Nabal partied like it was 1999, got drunk, woke up the next day and was sober, his wife Abigail explained to him what she did, which was to help David. For whatever reason, he got a stroke and died. So, yes. David then marries Abigail, who has become a new widow, and in chapter 26, David spares Saul again. David spares King Saul's life again. The first time that his life was spared, David and his men snuck down to the camp, went inside the tent, and I believe stole the man's spear and his water jug, proof that he was there and he could have killed him, but he did not. This time in chapter 26, David spares Saul's life when Saul goes inside a cave to either rest or relieve himself. David gets close enough to cut off a hem of his robe, and once Saul is some distance away, he lets him know that I could have killed you again, but I did not. Here's proof. Here's a hem of your robe. David seeks refuge against the Philistines in chapter 27. And that is the recap from yesterday. So now let's read chapter 28 today. Saul consults a medium. About that time, the Philistines mustered their armies for another war with Israel. King Achish told David, "You and your men will be expected to join me in battle." "Very well," David agreed. "Now you will see for yourself what we can do." Ah, yes. The final thing that happened yesterday before I jump into today's reading is after David sought refuge with King Achish and his people. He was originally living in the royal city, but then he decided he would feel more comfortable moving a little bit further south into the countryside. He was plundering some of the lands in the southern part, and whenever he came back towards where King Achish was living, King Achish would check in with him, asking him, "Where have you been?" And King David, or excuse me, not King David yet, but David lied. He lied and construed the story of, "Oh, I was over here plundering my own people," when actually he was somewhere else plundering other people. And he was kind of making a bad reputation for himself just so he could give the illusion that he was under King Achish's protection and there because he had to be there. So that was also another breakdown of yesterday. Did a little bit of research of why did he lie. All right, now we're in chapter 28. Saul, King Saul, consults a medium. About that time, the Philistines mustered their armies for another war with Israel. King Achish told David, "You and your men will be expected to join me in battle." "Very well," David agreed. "Now you will see for yourself what we can do." Then Achish told David, "I will make you my personal bodyguard for life." Meanwhile, Samuel had died, and all Israel mourned him. He was buried in Ramah, his hometown, and Saul had banned from the land of Israel all mediums and those who consult the spirits of the dead. The Philistines set up their camp at Shunem, and Saul gathered all the army of Israel at Camp Gilboa. When Saul saw the vast Philistine army, he became frantic with fear. He asked the Lord what he should do, but the Lord refused to answer him, either by dreams or by sacred lots. Remember Human and Thuman? Or by the prophets. Saul then said to his advisors, "Find a woman who is a medium so I can go and ask her what to do." His advisors replied, "There is a medium at Endor." So Saul disguised himself by wearing ordinary clothes instead of his royal clothes. Then he went to the woman's home at night, accompanied by two of his men. "I have to talk to a man who has died," he said. "Will you call up his spirit for me?" "Are you trying to get me killed?" the woman demanded. "You know that Saul has outlawed all the mediums and all who consult the spirits of the dead. Why are you setting a trap for me?" But Saul took an oath in the name of the Lord and promised, "As surely as the Lord lives, nothing bad will happen to you for doing this." Finally, the woman said, "Well, whose spirit do you want me to call up?" "Call up Samuel," Saul replied. When the woman saw Samuel, she screamed, "You've deceived me! You are Saul!" "Don't be afraid," the king told her. "What do you see?" "I see a god coming up out of the earth," she said. "What does he look like?" Saul asked. "He is an old man wrapped in a robe," she replied. Saul realized it was Samuel, and he fell to the ground before him. "Why have you disturbed me by calling me back?" Samuel asked Saul. "Because I am in deep trouble," Saul replied. "The Philistines are at war with me, and God has left me and won't reply by prophets or dreams. So I've called for you to tell me what to do." But Samuel replied, "Why ask me, since the Lord has left you and become your enemy? The Lord has done just as he said he would. He has torn the kingdom from you and given it to your rival David. The Lord has done this to you today because you refused to carry out his fierce anger against the Amalekites. What's more, the Lord will hand you and the army of Israel over to the Philistines tomorrow, and you and your sons will be here with me. The Lord will bring down the entire army of Israel in defeat." Saul fell full length on the ground, paralyzed with fright because of Samuel's words. He was also faint with hunger, for he had eaten nothing all day and night. When the woman saw how distraught he was, he said, "Sir, I obeyed your command at the risk of my life. Now do what I say and let me give you a little something to eat so you can regain your strength for the trip back." But Saul refused to eat anything. Then his advisers joined the woman in urging him to eat, so he finally yielded and got up from the ground and sat on the couch. The woman had been fattening a calf, so she hurried out and killed it. She took some flour, kneaded it into dough, and baked unleavened bread. She brought the meal to Saul and his advisers, and they ate it. Then they went out into the night. There's a lot of complicated stuff going on there in chapter 28. A lot of complicated stuff. We got David over here with King Achish. David, who has sought refuge with this king. This king who's thinking, "Yeah, you've pretty much turned against your own people, so now let's go to battle with them." That's what's happening in the first part. David agrees, very well. Now you can see for yourself how we roll. Then, by the time we get down to verse 4, actually, let me go back up. In verse In verse 3, King Saul has banned, prohibited, said no to all the mediums, all those people that can conjure up the spirits of the dead and talk to them, which I believe we learned somewhere up in here. I don't remember the exact verse, but somewhere up in maybe Numbers or Leviticus or Deuteronomy, it says not to do that. So he already knows they're not supposed to be doing that. So he, one, bans all these mediums that can speak to the dead, and then two, he goes to the same type of person that he banned. And the reason why he did this is because he asked the Lord, "What should I do?" The Lord is no longer responding to him. He goes to the prophets. They're not responding to him. Um, or he's not able to find a prophet, so he goes to the only prophet that he knows, the one who anointed him as king, who has already died. So that is Samuel. Now I'm a little bit curious here because, as far as I know, is the Bible telling me now that spirits can be conjured up? Is it telling me that it is possible to bring someone's likeness back? Or I'm wondering because I was taught, well, not taught, but I was under the impression that only God can bring us back. And if you see a spirit or you see something, it's not of God. It might be something that looks like what you're familiar with, but it's not of God. It's not that person's spirit. It's a spirit mimicking that spirit. That's what I thought. But I'm wondering, what do you think about that verse? What is your interpretation? I like to know some theologians' take on this part where it says, when the woman saw Samuel, where's that at? Verse 12, 28 and 12. When the woman saw Samuel, she screamed, "You've deceived me. You are Saul." "Don't be afraid," the king told her. "What do you see?" "I see a god coming up out of the earth," she said, "and there's a star." God or gods, lowercase g. And the sacred lots, that was Urim and Thummim. Remember the little stones that if you throw them a certain way, it will give you the answer that the Lord's trying to tell you. But yeah, I'm curious about how everybody else interprets this particular passage of conjuring up spirits of the dead. So after all of this, the woman has said, "Hey, you need to eat something so you can have enough strength to go back home, leave this place. I don't want any trouble." All right, verse 29 is next. All right. Just so you know. Verse 29, the Philistines reject David. The entire Philistine army now mobilized at Aphek, and the Israelites camped at the spring in Jezreel. As the Philistine rulers were leading out their troops in groups of hundreds and thousands, David and his men marched at the rear with King Achish. But the Philistine commander demanded, "What are these Hebrews doing here?" And Achish told them, "This is David, the servant of King Saul of Israel. He's been with me for years, and I've never found a single fault in him from the day he arrived until today." But the Philistine commanders were angry. "Send him back to the town you've given him," they demanded. "He can't go into the battle with us. What if he turns against us in battle and becomes our adversary? Is there any better way for him to reconcile himself with his master than by handing our heads over to him? Isn't this the same David about whom the women of Israel sings in their dances? Saul has killed his thousands and David his 10,000s." So Achish finally summoned David and said to him, "I swear by the Lord that you have been a trustworthy ally. I think you should go with me to battle, for I've never found a single flaw with you from the day you arrived until today. But those Philistine rulers won't hear of it. Please don't upset them, but go back quietly." "What have I done to deserve this treatment?" David demanded in verse 8. "What have I ever done? What have you ever found in your servant that I can't go and fight the enemies of my lord the king?" But Achish insisted, "As far as I'm concerned, you're as perfect as an angel of God. But the Philistine commanders are afraid to have you with them in battle. Now get up early in the morning and leave with your men as soon as it gets light." So David and his men headed back to the land of the Philistines, while the Philistine army went to Jezreel. Chapter 30. David destroys the Amalekites. 3 days later, when David and his men arrived at their town of Ziklag, they found that the Amalekites had made a raid into the Negev and Ziklag. They had crushed Ziklag and burned it to the ground. They had carried off the women and children and everyone else, but without killing anyone. When David and his men saw the ruins and realized what happened to their families, they wept until they could weep no more. David's two wives, Ahinoam from Jezreel and Abigail, the widow of Nabal from Carmel, were among those captured. David was now in great danger because all his men were very bitter about losing their sons and daughters, and they began to talk of stoning him. But David found strength in the Lord his God. He said to Abiathar the priest, remember Abiathar, he was the only surviving person. He said to Abiathar the priest, "Bring me the ephod." So Abiathar brought it. Then David asked the Lord, "Should I chase after this band of raiders? Will I catch them?" After the Lord told him, "Yes, go after them. You will surely recover everything that was taken from you." So David and his 600 men set out, and they came to the brook, Besor. But 200 of the men were too exhausted to cross the brook, so David continued the pursuit with 400 men. Along the way, they found an Egyptian man in a field and brought him to David. They gave him some bread to eat and water to drink. They also gave him part of a fig cake and 2 clusters of raisins, for he hadn't had anything to eat or drink for 3 days and nights. Before long, his strength returned. "To whom do you belong, and where do you come from?" David asked. "I am an Egyptian, the slave of an Amalekite," he replied. "My master abandoned me 3 days ago because I was sick. We were on our way back from raiding the Carathites in the Negev, the territory of Judah, and the land of Caleb, and we had just burned Ziklag." "Will you lead me to this band of raiders?" David asked. The young man replied, "If you take an oath in God's name that you will not kill me or give me back to my master, then I will guide you to them." So he led David to them, and they found the Amalekites spread out across the fields, eating and drinking and dancing with joy because of the vast amount of plunder they had taken from the Philistines and the land of Judah. David and his men rushed in among them and slaughtered them throughout that night and the entire night the next day until evening. None of the Amalekites escaped except 400 young men who fled on camels. David got back everything the Amalekites had taken, and he rescued his 2 wives. Nothing was missing, small or great, son or daughter, nor anything else that had been taken. David brought everything back. He also recovered all the flocks and herds, and his men drove them ahead of the other livestock. "This plunder belongs to David," they said. Then David returned to the brook Besor and met up with 200 men who had been left behind because they were too exhausted to go with him. They went out to meet David and his men, and David greeted them joyfully. But some evil troublemakers among David's men said, "They didn't go with us, so they can't have any of this plunder we recovered. Give them their wives and children and tell them to be gone." But in verse 23, David said, "No, my brothers, don't be selfish with what the Lord has given us. He has kept us safe and helped us defeat the band of raiders that attacked us. Who will listen when you talk like this? We share and share alike, those who go to battle and those who guard the equipment." Well, that was a nice diplomatic way of putting it. From then on, David made this a decree and regulation for Israel, and it is still followed today. When he arrived at Ziklag, David sent part of the plunder to the elders of Judah, who were his friends. "Here is a great present for you, taken from the Lord's enemies," he said. The gifts were sent to the people of the following towns David had visited: Bethel, Ramoth Negev, Jatir, Awer, Sifmoth, Eshtemoa, Rakal, the towns of Jerahmeelites, the towns of Kenites, Hormah, Bor Ashan, Athak, Hebron, and all the other places David and his men had visited. And so that is chapter 30. That's how it all went down. David destroyed the Amalekites. I wonder how many were left after, because the Amalekites are actually Chapter 15. Saul destroys the Amalekites. Saul destroys the Amalekites. Not saying that there wasn't just more than one group of Amalekites, but Saul destroyed the Amalekites. Remember King Agag? And he saved some of those sheep and goats and camels and donkeys. And that's pretty much the reason why Saul has been dethroned, because the Lord said, destroy them completely. And he did not destroy them completely. They destroyed only what was worthless or of poor quality. That's what's going on in verse 9. He let King Agag survive. And it's a good chance that he did let some other people survive, because here in chapter 30, 15 chapters later, David destroys the Amalekites. Last chapter, chapter 31. Now the Philistines attacked Israel, and the men of Israel fled before them. Many of the slaughtered on the slopes of Mount Gilboa. The Philistines closed in on Saul and his sons, and they killed 3 of his sons, Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua. The fighting grew very fierce around Saul, and the Philistine archers caught up with him and wounded him severely. Saul groaned to his armor-bearer, "Take your sword and kill me before these pagan Philistines. Take your sword and kill me before these pagan Philistines come to run me through and taunt and torture me." But his armor-bearer was afraid and would not do it. So Saul took his own sword and fell on it. When his armor-bearer realized that Saul was dead, he fell on his own sword and died beside the king. So Saul and his 3 sons, his armor-bearer, and his troops all died together that same day. When the Israelites on the other side of the Jezreel valley and beyond the Jordan saw that the Israelite army had fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they abandoned their towns and fled. So the Philistines moved in and occupied their towns. The next day, when the Philistines were out to strip the dead, they found the bodies of Saul and his 3 sons on Mount Gilboa. So they cut off Saul's head and stripped off his armor. Then they proclaimed the good news of Saul's death in their pagan temples and to the people throughout the land of Philistia. They placed his armor in the temple of Ashtoreth, and they fastened his body to the wall of the city of Bethshan. But when the people of Jabesh Gilead heard what the Philistines had done to Saul, all their mighty warriors traveled through the night to Bethshan and took the bodies of Saul and his sons down from the wall. They brought them to Jabesh, where they burned the bodies. Then they took their bones and buried them beneath the tamarisk tree at Jabesh, and they fasted for 7 days. Thank you so much for watching, Nicole. Thank you, Life of Key. Thank you, Laverne Dorsey. Thank you, The Wiz. Thank you, Eva Frazier. Thank you, Nightbot. Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for this wonderful week that has gone by. Thank you for Friday and for the weekend that is at hand. Lord, bless the live chat and all those who are on the replay as well. Thank you for this moment to read the Bible in the comfort and safety of my own home, as I am reaching out to all of my YouTube friends in different places and spaces. I pray that everyone has learned something today from the Bible reading, and that they're encouraged to read the Bible in their own time so that they can build their relationship with you as well as their faith. Amen. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive. Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive. Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive. Thanks for watching, share, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you at the next Bible reading party, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time.